All right, guys. So I had the privilege recently of interviewing Bob Perkins, who's the founder and chairman of the American Association of Inside Sales Professionals. And man, is this a good one. So one thing you guys are going to notice right away is Bob's just got this energy about him. He was so much fun to interview, and the organization that he started is just, I mean, it's incredible what they've done. And when I talked to him as I was going through the interview, like it just struck me how curious he was about everything. You know, when video came on the scene, he's curious about that. Courses, he's curious about that. Should we put things behind a paywall or should we give information out front for free? Like it's just interesting to watch a guy that is so open to ideas and very curious about everything going on. The other thing you're going to hear him talk about is just the generation gap, and it's made a big impact on his organization, and they're continuing to look for ways to capitalize on kind of the innovation, the tech familiarity of the youth, along with the, you know, just the experience, the knowledge and the wisdom, if you will, of the older generation. I had a blast doing it. I learned a ton, and I hope you guys do too. So let's talk to Bob Perkins. We've been talking for a little bit here, and I just the conversation's so good. I think I'm just gonna keep rolling here. You know, I'm questioning because I want to respect your time, how much I want to spend on the history of what you've done. But I think it's important to know that you are the founder of this organization, AAISP, and now, unless the site hasn't been updated, 65 chapters around the world, and you guys are doing 8 conferences.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I know we could spend hours on this, but take me just as tight as you can through that journey.
Well, um, it all started with one conference in Minnesota with 60 people in 2009. I used to daydream and dream about building an association 5 years prior to I finally got around to it. One of my good friends, Larry Reeves, was in between jobs, and I had changed jobs. I had some extra time in my hand. I said, "Hey, if we're going to do this thing, let's, I want to do it now." And so, in those dreams, I never knew we'd have chapters. You're going to get a laugh out of this because you're in Chicago, but we had one of our first sponsors in 2009 had a motivational practice business, and he lived in Chicago. He invited me and Larry to go play golf at his club, Rich Harvest Farm, which, if you know about golf, it's an amazing club. They've had the Women's Cup there, not the Ryder Cup, the Solheim Cup. So Larry and we said, well, wait a minute, if this is really going to be a business trip, we have to have a reason to go there besides play golf. And I go, well, Chicago, what do you think of a chapter? And so we called the guy we knew in Motorola, Dan Halt, and I go, Dan, can you meet next Tuesday and we'll call it a chapter meeting? We had 5 people. Well, the rest is history.
Wow.
So Chicago, not Minneapolis, where it was founded, was the first chapter.
Wow.
It spread like wildfire. And the reason being, and here's the whole deal behind why we've grown so much. It's because we had a simple mission. And it's the mission I had throughout my career. And it's right on the back of our business cards. I don't have one handy, but it says, taking inside sales to the next level of professionalism and performance. And professionalism is making this inside sales profession more noble, making it highly thought of. And performance is, more a better sales experience, a better sales rep. So it exploded in front of us. I was still working as a VP of inside sales at a Merrill Corporation for a few years, and finally we got big enough. I said bye-bye to that, and here we are today.
So those early years, those conferences, I mean, the mission is obviously critical, and you had it dialed in right from the jump. But those initial conferences, were you focusing more on just the building the network, or was there training and that type of value involved in those?
Oh, there was a ton of training. This is the coolest thing about what we do here. We take real life situations, case studies, stories of a lot of it. I drew upon my experience building teams, breaking through barriers, having reps really believe they can sell. We had a rep sell $1 million deal over the phone at Unisys in 1996, 97. And back then it's like, no, inside sales isn't real sales, right? And like, oh yeah, we are. And so, that led to us providing amazing content that you couldn't buy. You couldn't find a course. We have a course now called Designing Compensation Plans for Inside Sales. There's nothing out there like that, but there is now because we put this together. So the second year we had 200 people at this conference, 2010. I was taking questions after I spoke for 10 minutes, and somebody says, can you explain why you started this? And I gave them the story, and the whole place literally started applauding, and everybody stood up. It's not because I told a good story. That's not the point. The point is they were so darn thankful and energized that they had this home. People would say, well, we feel like we've come to this home reunion now. So, I think that's the secret sauce. It's certainly not because, I had this great idea and this great strategy and, we're a great business, we struck a chord out there. We brought something that was desperately needed and wanted. And I think a lot of good business starts come out of necessity like that, out of need.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting to watch kind of, as you've grown, and you're at a size now where I don't know if it's fair to say that growth takes care of itself, but obviously it helps when you've got a loyal group of people that really love what you're doing. That, needless to say, that's a huge advantage that you guys obviously have now. But are there some things that you guys are doing in your meetings? I mean, and I'll touch on these. I don't want to make it too easy on you, but I mean, in doing my homework on you guys, like, you're really, you guys just get it. Like, everything you're doing, from the Monday morning videos to your courses, to the way you're doing lead capture on your page, to it just seems like, that doesn't happen by accident, so as you guys are growing, how have you guys kind of stayed on top of being able to continue to spread your mission, using what appears to be a lot of digital components?
Yeah, that's great. That's a really, really good, thoughtful question. There's a couple different pieces to that. Let me start by saying, ever since I was a young kid, I was very curious, right? So I seek out new things. I like to call a big part of the hat I wear here at the association is a curator. So I love people with new technology. I go, please give me a demo. I want to look at it. I want to see how it can help. So in our core value and competency here as an association, we know there's so much out on the horizon we got to learn, and we try not to do things the same way just because we've always done them that way. We brought in a millennial translator, a lady that talks about millennials. We brought in somebody last year, body language. I go, what are you talking about, body language? Well, guess what? Body language matters it matters now when we see each other and I'm using my hands to express myself. But do you know body language matters when you're talking to somebody over the phone and you don't see them? So we brought in somebody to train our people on that. So we're always seeking to be at the forefront of the profession. Now, there's a flip side to that. We got to be the meat and potatoes too. So there's a lot of people out there that need leadership 101. They need frontline selling 101. And there's a big challenge out there right now. And here's what it is. We have a supply and demand issue. It simply means there are more open jobs today in inside sales, SDR, BDR, account exec, right, than there are qualified candidates, period. When I hired years ago, I wouldn't talk to anybody without 3 to 4 years experience. Wouldn't even let them in the door. Today, they're hiring kids right out of college. And now guess what the challenge is? Training, right? You can't put somebody on the phone or on video now or on text or right. Pretty soon we're going to be doing holograms. I can't wait for holograms. And we have a problem training them. I was down at Baylor University talking to juniors and seniors in the sales program at Baylor. And I go, hey, everyone, now listen to me carefully. When you graduate, a few years into after you graduate, if you're selling, you're all going to do your business on a Dick Tracy watch. So, Steve, do you know what a Dick Tracy watch is?
I do.
Well,
I'm 44, so I'm not too young.
The students didn't. So this old crusty professor stood up. He said, "Mr. Perkins, can you explain to the students who Dick Tracy was?" I said, "Yeah, he did live video stream on a watch."
Yeah.
Well, we're there, right? We're real close to that. So, anyway, I kind of did a couple curves on you there, but
no, it's great. I mean, and it's funny. I mean, because you are at the cutting edge of it. I think when your organization is based on being on the front lines, you're right. I mean, curating and taking a look at everything seems like the prudent thing to do. And when you guys started like rolling that out, I mean, was it is the culture? I mean, you seem like a real go-getter, of course. And were you guys just like, let's dive in and figure this out, or was there? Because I know for me, like I used to shoot a lot of, a big part of what we did as a company, we still do a lot of it, but it was shooting video, right? We'd bring cameras in and man, it was like the seas would part when we'd bring that camera in. And it still is, like people freak out.
Yeah.
So to get a whole organization to kind of adopt and again, I'm just speaking digitally, but kind of looking at how you guys have done it, and you do it really well, by the way. I just wonder, like, was that just organic, like the type of people you have, or did you have to really kind of force that home?
No, it was very natural. We're fortunate that we have some millennials on our staff. They kind of keep me and Larry honest. if you drift, they'll call us out if I run my. Do I have the right jeans and shoes on for this event? I'm kind of a young at heart guy anyway, so it makes it a little bit easier. But the use of digital was pretty native. I bought one of the first personal computers that ran on cassette tape.
Yeah.
And I'm not really technical, but I love gadgets. So to me, when we had the ability like you and I do to fire up a Zoom like this, when I knew that was possible and it was quick and easy, I'm like, listen, do not call me on the phone because I won't answer because I dislike talking on the phone now. I need to see someone.
Yeah.
Why in the world? And I'll tell you what, you're going to see me whether you turn your camera on or not. I leave mine on all the time.
Yeah.
And so I got to tell you, I feel I'm going to take a little credit here that I think the AISP, not me, but the association, we got so we were promoting video early on, and we surveyed it, and it was like 8% of the companies use it. And I would go on main stage and I said, this is terrible. This is ridiculous. So we promoted use of video. And I think in a small way, I think we helped to get it to where it is today. We're up to about 40%, almost 50% usage now.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is, we got a long way to go. So it was very native to us. It was organic, comfortable. Sometimes I had to get our youngest salesperson that's in her 20s. She's great, Brooke. We had to kind of encourage her. It's okay. You don't have to, necessarily just do your hair, makeup, and all that. Just get on video, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
No, it's great.
And then the other uses of digital, we have a chat availability on our website, and we have a pretty strong marketing group team, but producing content is not easy, as you know. It takes time, and producing fresh content is even tougher. Um, so, and then getting people to read. I still feel people, we wonder why we don't get more use of our website by our members. And I'm like, look, we're competing with about 50 other apps out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your bank app, I got my golf club app, and I got to use all this stuff, and it's cluttered. And, maybe you can share some wisdom back to us around, what's trending now and what's the best way to get and keep people's attention. Right. So we could learn from you there, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up. I was at a event in Miami a month ago, maybe. It was for restaurants, and it was one of the most fascinating, the speakers, and I mean, it was amazing. Google was there talking about, anyway, long story short, to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, the restaurants, and that's big for apps and all that jazz. They're realizing like the difficulty in getting people to use them is almost not worth it anymore, because people are, whether it's the storage on your phone, it's just too much. They're just deleting them, and they're using these other kind of services to make it happen. So the other thing, when you talk about like your website, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I was talking to somebody at another association that I won't name, but I had a great conversation, and they were, they're trying to be very, very progressive, and they launched like an online platform. And I'm going to ask you about, what you guys have going on in yours, but on their website where peer-to-peers could share ideas, and they're really struggling to get people to go there. Yeah. And so me as a marketer, my initial thought process, particularly if it's new, is like, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but if it was me, I would have it initially live on a platform like a LinkedIn or somewhere where the people are there all day. Like they're just there. Yeah. To get them to go somewhere special and then engage is really hard to do.
It is. It is.
Like, how much engagement do you, because I'm assuming I see everything on the front end, but obviously behind that paywall, so to speak, of your website, and you guys are a little different. I mean, it's almost hard having the conversation with you only because you guys do it so well. Like, there's so much information on there, but how do you guys get people? A better question is, how have you found the ease of ability to get people to engage and strike up conversations on your website versus off of
it? Look, you're hitting the nail on the head when it comes to some of the challenges we have. Mm-hmm. We're first and foremost a conference, an in-person, a chapter in-person business. I think part of it is good because it gets people out of the office, right? Inside sales, by its nature, by its design, puts people in cubes and keeps them there on the phone. Mm-hmm. So for somebody to get out of that environment and learn and share a network is great. That is part of I think the secret sauce here is that we did it, but we're doing it face to face. Isn't it ironic that everything we talk about and teach and train and promote is virtual?
Yeah.
It's not face to face, except that's our business model. It's face to face.
Yeah.
And I've often wondered about that. It's hard to get people to engage on the website, and we don't know if we have the model right, honestly.
Yeah.
Have our marketing director, senior director of marketing operations, Cameron Hobbs. We should get her on here sometime, but her and I kind of go back and forth, a little bit of a tug of war. She goes, "We need more content." I go, "Cameron," I go, "We have about 2,000 pieces of content from blog posts to videos to you name it. You can search it. You can find stuff here that is hard to find, on the web." I said, we need more engagement.
Yeah.
Or people begging us for more content is what we want. So, we have it highly gated. You got to be a member to unlock the content. For the most part, there's some pieces we give away. And I don't know if that's the right model. And here I'm being pretty transparent on your show here, but we've often thought about unlocking or rather making some level of membership complimentary. Mm-hmm. Just join the community. We're going to unlock, some of the content. We're going to give you some resources. And then if you want to upgrade to a paid membership, you get more. So we don't know the answer. all we know is it's not that big of a priority right now because our business model is the conference space,
Mm-hmm.
sponsorships, attendees.
Yeah, and it looks like it's working really well. One of the things that I love that you do is how front and center you are. Like when I was going through and looking at what you guys are doing, one of my like if you're running an org, even just a business, I don't care if it's an association or whatever it is, like if you take anything away from what you guys are doing, like if there's one baby step, like your Monday morning sales minute that you call them the best. Like, I mean, they're super short and it's almost like just a really clear update of what's going on. It keeps me engaged. Just whoever launched that and however you guys are doing it, like every organization should be doing that or some version of it. Because when you're talking about culture, when you're talking about the leader, especially the way you do, I mean, you're on like every one of them pretty much. It just drives the momentum of the culture and the organization. Even if you never go further than that, it keeps you like in touch.
Well, it's good to hear that. I often think, is it, don't take this the wrong way, but I wonder sometimes, is it worth it? Is it wasting time? Because we get views, we get feedback like yours, but me, I want 100,000 people seeing it,
Sure.
not 300.
Right.
But you'll like this. We go away. We leave Arizona for a couple months every summer to get out of the heat and visit family, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, I'm going to get ahead of this one because I was doing Monday morning sales minutes on the road 2 years ago out of a big RV home. And now I don't have that luxury. So I went ahead and I did a 12-week summer school series, and I have 12 videos coming out starting maybe next Monday or the Monday after that for 12 weeks. The first 6 are frontline quick tactics. The last 6 are leadership tips.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. I think the lady who produces them, I think she's going to build in schools out for summer. The old Alice Cooper. And I say school may be out, but learning never stops. So you got to keep learning.
It's great. It's great what you're doing. And the, so I guess moving ahead a little bit, looking at the future of the organization, you've obviously done an incredible job growing it. And, one of the things that you did recently, which, man, I just thought it was, I feel like I'm gloating over what you guys are doing. I don't want to appear to be that way, but the whole give back thing and you did it on a Monday morning and you just kind of addressed what you did at the conference.
Yeah.
Talking to the leaders, but so I'm gonna have you just address that for a second, and then I might as well just have you kind of roll into. I love that you guys are doing the college and university student.
Yeah.
That is so smart, man. So smart. And seems like kind of obvious if I'm being frank. It's like, man, that's the next generation. Like, let's get them involved.
Yeah. And we don't have enough time. These colleges want so much. They're very needy in a good way, right? And we're trying to help, but finally we said, look, if you're in any type of sales program, marketing program, you get to join. You don't have to spend $145. Join for free. And in fact, I'm glad you brought it up, which reminds me, a professor from FSU is going to, every 2 years, they have the college sales program leaders, the directors, the professors, right, come together from about 80 schools. And every 2 years, they talk about how do we make our collegiate academic program for sales better. Wow. So this guy is going to roll out this free student membership thing to all these professors. So, look, the give back thing had been a theme going on in my head for a long time, and it goes something like this. I look back at my career and I pinch myself. I go, how could I be so lucky to fall in love with a job? The job was leading inside sales that I was super passionate about, that I helped people, that my life got better, my career got better. I helped other people. And I said to the audience in Chicago, I said, are we part of the best profession in the world? I mean, look what it's done for so many of us, right? Quality of life, you name it. And I said, we can't always be on the taking end. So how are we going to give back to the profession which has given us so much, right? Because the profession is going to go on. It's going to outlive the AISP, right? It's going to go on and on and on. And we have to do something to ensure that it stays on the right track, right? That it keeps becoming, more of a noble profession. We don't want people thinking, oh, sales, are you a, kind of this knock on the door-to-door salesperson kind of image, and no, we don't want that, and we don't have that. So this give back is let's do something because we believe that the profession has been good to us, and we want to ensure its future. And so so we did a couple things. We gave a scholarship check to two universities, NIU with Rob Peterson and UT Dallas with Dr. Howard Dover. And then we announced the free student membership thing. And then we had an app, speaking of apps, and we asked people to go tell us how you're giving back during the conference. So we had a rolling people I'm mentoring. We had people mentoring. We had people helping out with coaching. Steve Richard, who's one of our sponsors, he does this free call coaching camp every couple of weeks or every month. So, yeah, that's it.
It's really cool. Really, really cool. So if you were, and this is, so this is going to be just by its nature a very loaded question. So I don't want to overcomplicate it, but kind of looking at associations, member groups, companies like yours, if you were to start over tomorrow, like, hey, I'm going to start this new thing. Like, are there a couple things that you'd be like, man, no matter what, we've got to get this right immediately?
Yeah. I think I'm going to categorize this as value to standalone members. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of people that join as a member and pay $145. And I don't think they're getting the value we expect them to get. Certainly we know there's valuable things, content, videos, ask an expert, but I'm not sure that's making it into the hands of the member. I know that because if somebody goes to a conference every year, guess what? Their membership auto renews, right?
Sure.
So they're still a member, whether they use the website or not. The member then that signs up who's in Spokane, Washington, who never gets out to a conference, may not even get out to a chapter meeting, then has to say, am I getting enough value out of this website and resources that's worth it? And we don't have a high renewal rate on just the standalone members. Now, we talk to members, a lot of them go, you guys are amazing. I use your content all the time. You want to know what's funny? I am in the resource center myself every day.
I'll bet.
Every day, because it's just because I grab things and I send it to people that have needs. So I'd restructure it. We have an associate member for $25. It doesn't really do anything. We have a policy that says, hey, look, if you're going to go to the Philadelphia or Dallas chapter or Chicago chapter, you're going to go every couple of months and get value out of that. You got to at least pay some dues, right? So we tried to force this $25 a year. I mean, come on, and we're getting people not renewing. So I don't know how I would do it, but I think I would restructure it somehow. I think I would have a join the community, no charge, and then maybe a small fee for membership, or I think I would probably have had more active, visible content out to the general public earlier in our life cycle. We started this thing and just grabbed on, and it, kind of dragged us through. So.
Yeah, and I think you're not alone, in that thinking, because a lot of folks in your position, the challenge that they have is really like, okay, what is that real value, right? Especially with the internet, you got all this information and all this stuff going on. So where is real value? And obviously, the network is, I mean, I'm sure, I know this just from a lot of my peers, like that's what they pay for, is the network, the access to peers, the resources, et cetera. So I think it's an interesting, and a great, thing to consider as organizations like yours move forward. Like, what is that next step?
Right.
And it's been really interesting. I have a friend of mine. I'm not going to name names or anything. He's doing a great thing though. They actually piggyback on events, similar to yours, where they will go to guys like you and say, hey, we're going to host like a really high level mastermind 2 days in advance.
Yeah.
And it's very expensive.
Yeah.
But what their clients have found is that a lot of those people, they're usually like the most vocal, the most outgoing kind of members, ones that are really bought in.
Yep.
Now they're coming back because there's additional, like the people that are being put in the same rooms is worth the money. Like just that.
We do a couple of things like that. We call them the executive retreat. We used to always have one a year. Guess what? Now we're up to two because they become so popular.
Yeah.
Those are highly sought after. So we do 2 a year. We also have a group called the EEF, Enterprise Executive Forum. It's leaders of huge inside sales. You have to have like 200 reps to even participate. And we don't even charge the members. We hold some virtual meetings. We do some pre-conference meetings, pre-retreat meeting. We go visit a site so they can see a different inside sales infrastructure and cubes and all that. And you're right. It's powerful and valuable.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to respect your time. I can't thank you enough for jumping on. And I would love to, I mean, if you have other people internally, I would love to maybe, if you want to ping me and them, I'd love to talk to them as well. Cause I can just tell you, I mean, what you guys are doing it's, I mean, you're definitely ahead of the curve. I mean, if nothing else, I can say that. And you're doing something right, Bob, for sure.
We're meeting a need, and I think that was the catalyst from the very beginning.
Yeah.
This didn't exist. Now it does. And people love it. So
yeah, Bob, thanks for coming on. I'll make sure and link everything up for anybody watching this, so they can kind of see what you guys are up to, and hopefully, you get some more people to join. Cause again, I think what you guys are doing is great. And again, a lot of stuff, that's not behind that paywall, so to speak, is really good information. And I don't know, there's just something about you and the organization, like the energy it's very authentic, and man, I just can't thank you enough.
Well, thanks for having me. My pleasure.